Hello, Nip there. What's up? This is Chizoba Katie, your host on the Novels and Bits podcast. This is the fourth installment of Heat of the Everflame by Penn. Kindred's Cost Saga. I've been calling it Cost of the Kindred Saga. It's actually Kindred's Cost Saga. The fourth installment of telling it, of recapping it on this podcast. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Let me just do a brief recap, very brief. So that means if this is your first time joining and you want to really get the hang of things, maybe you should just go see the episodes before this, maybe one or two. Preferably maybe go through all the show notes before now, just so that you're caught up, okay? And if you say, okay, I just want to hear anyhow and catch something from here, and it's good too. It's okay. You can catch up. So with that in mind, let's go. Now, where we ended things in the last episode, our crew got into Umbros. That is Diem and her friends, with Luther, Taran, Alix. They got into Umbros, the realm of mind and secret. They met Zalaric, this Luminous descendant that found refuge in Umbros because he's a half-mortal. He would have been executed in Luminous. So he's a self-made man. He was actually going to help them find a ship to get off Umbros, but somehow the Centenaries, the Queen's 100 guards people, they caught up to what he was trying to do, and they kind of gave him an option to either turn Diem and her friends in or be dead, and they will still capture Diem and her friends. So he turned them in, and he was so sad about it. So now they take them to the Umbros Palace, where the Queen decides, well, I'm not going to treat you guys like you were enemies. I'm going to treat you guys like honored guests. But my condition is that Diem, you get to stay 3 days. Okay? After 3 days, you can go. In that space of time, the Queen is also answering so many of Diem's questions she has about her origins, who her parents are, why she was brought for a time like this. So much is going on, right? Part of answering a whole lot of Diem's questions is bringing her to the library. Ysel, the Queen of Umbros, has this very extensive library that perhaps only Sophos, the realm of intelligence, could match. Okay? So she brings Diem to that library, and we already talked about what is on the panels on the door before you enter the library. What looks like a history of a Marian bloodied field with bloodied people on one panel side, 9 people with crowns standing around the dark pavilion or platform on another side. Above it, you find this tree that is all boo, like flames on it. That's the Everflame tree with a red-headed man leaning on it. That's where we stopped in the last episode. Now let's enter the library. Okay, now beyond the door is an enormous library. A section of this library is dedicated to mortal history. Another is dedicated to the descended history. And beyond, another locked door are the Kindred's books. Ysel gives Diem the key to that locked door beyond. Ysel claims that it was through Zal's memories that she saw that Diem loves books. And then Ysel now tells Diem, happy reading, dear, and education is the most powerful weapon of them all. Like, don't forget that. So Diem dives into the books of mortal history first, because mortal history has mostly been destroyed. So yeah, she's curious. Who were the mortals before now? How did they live? So she now read that they had experimented with different systems of government, monarchies, councils, parliaments, and were making some progress before the Kindred came and halted it all. The scriptures on ancient religions have most of the old gods' names burned away. Everflame is the only name that remained. Maybe the descended think that they should have done away with the Everflame name too, so that mortals won't have anything to rally around. There are many stories of the Everflame, but this is the one that your storyteller, is highlighting. Pregnant mothers would risk their lives to travel the sea once labor began, believing a child born on the Everflame's blessed soil would be imbued with its sacred power of life. So mothers would risk traveling on sea to the Everflame Island, that's where Corel is currently, to born child on that land, because they believe that when a baby is born there, that child is imbued with its sacred power of life. You'll see why it's necessary. Just hold on to that thought. Now, Diem is so caught up reading so many things, but then the clock chime makes her lift her head. She thinks, oh, Lothar must be back now, because she wants to talk to him. And she wants to leave, actually. But the door to where the Kindred books are snags her attention. Now, they've been talking about her, you get. Father Umbros has been talking to Ysel about her, about Diem. And Diem is like, wait, isn't just luminals that are meant to be queen of that realm. So why does Umbers, Blessed Father Umbers, have any interest in me? So since apparently Kindred have been talking about it a lot, even when she met Montius on the island, Montius that is not supposed to talk to anybody, told her, good luck, daughter of the forgotten. And she's like, yo, who are all those people that know me and I know nothing about them? I should know something about them. So with that curiosity in her head, she takes the key that Isel gave her, she opens the door, she enters there. The thing that catches her attention, first of all, is an old map that must have been used to allocate the realms. In the middle of Montios is a barely there scratch, and then where the Everflame was once labeled, Kindred's temple stood in place. And this annoys Diem, like, who do they think they are taking over our island, the island of the mortals and co. Now, regardless, what catches her attention next is a book without a label. And the thing is, most of the books here are so old, they're preserved in glass casings. So Diem carefully brings out that book without label. And it turns out to be a journal of Montios. Montios was a woman who fled her own world for a haven here in this Amarian world. And yet the people here are fighting. That's according to her journal. When her and her siblings help, they're regarded as gods. Her siblings welcome being called gods. But Montios isn't comfortable with it. It was mortals that named all of these people. The Lumnos, the Umbers, the Forthos. It's actually humans that named those kindred that name. They have the original names from their own realm that we do not know. I don't know if we'll ever find out. So Montios, they named her that because of her love for mountains. They named her Montios because of her love of beautiful mountains. Diem learns further that the first kindred to fall in love was Lumnos, then Merus and Umbers, then Sophos, the eldest. What really sealed the deal was Montios, the one who enjoyed solitude, fell in love too. But as their beloveds aged, Sophos sought a way to bind their short lives, as the short lives of the mortals, to that of the kindreds. There was obviously a cost, but Montios was willing to pay it because she wrote, so whatever the cost is, I'll pay it. And eternity with him is what's the highest price. But what actually came of that bonding that they thought they would share their life with their mortal mates? What actually came of that bonding? Montios had hoped to give her lover eternal life. Instead, she sacrificed her own immortality to age and die at his side. She had indeed paid the ultimate price, but in a twisted way she hadn't expected. And Diem is like, yo, I made a similar vow earlier that I would die for what I believe in. Is this how it's going to go? You get. Now, the ending parts of this journal, they are ripped out. You can see that somebody tore it out, the jagged edges there. So Diem flips a few pages before that ripped out pages, and she's not reading. So there were actually concerns among the mortals when Lumnos and Photos' mates got pregnant. There's a plan. That's what Montios writes, but the youngest must agree. I confess, some days I fear him. What happened in our homeland did not scare him as it should have. Instead, he speaks of it with reverence. Even our Mo. Diem's is cut off from reading by Simon. So it's not like, who is the Mo? You get. So personally, I'm thinking she meant to say even our mortal lovers, our mortal mates or something. You get. That's what I'm thinking. But we do not know what the thought is because we were cut off, okay? So anyhow, Simon has unfortunately interrupted Diem because it's time for her to be ready for dinner. Simon has not been inside of this queen's personal library before now. It's forbidden to him, and Diem is shocked by that. Now, making their way back to the private wing, 2 female centenaries come out of Luther's room. It's close to Diem's room. They're all in the same wing, Diem and her friends. So now, the female centenaries are chatting to Diem's hearing about how big Luther's scars are and then the other things. Even worse, Diem spies Luther without clothes. She's bare bum and she's so hot. Now, centenaries attend to Diem, from bathing her to dressing her, doing her nails, coiling her hair, or oiling her skin with perfume. Even Luther looks somewhat like his old self when she sees him, because now he's clean shaven, he's in his suit that covers every skin, with her crown out and in a dress. Diem looks a part of green and everyone agrees. One thing she does notice is that her friends, including Zal, are in luminous colors of blue and silver, even Luther. But Diem is in black, which is the umbrous color, as if the queen is claiming Diem as one of hers. Alex comments that Diem's crown looks different from how it used to, Diem hasn't had a chance to look at the mirror to confirm if the crown looks different. But she just says, maybe it's from the coronation. The others aren't convinced because it has looked a particular way in paintings way long before now. Regardless, off to the dining room. Diem rejects Luther's gloved hand. Even that is so official for him, that his hands are gloved. She rejects his gloved hand to walk her, and it's just 5 of them when they get to the dining room. So now, hurting from Luther's betrayal, because he did go to the baiting house with the others. That's what Diem learns, but he returned early to, in quote, rest. So, hurting from what she believes is his betrayal, she takes the drinks Taran mixes for her. They are so strong. Seeing how Taran quickly downs half a bottle, she jokingly points out that, Taran, you might have a drinking problem. This is such a sore topic for Taran. They don't get into a chat. Now, Diem finally sees a reflection of the crown in the mirrored panel of the bar. What she is noticing is that the dark tawny circlet had shifted slightly in shape. The peak in front, now mirrored on the opposite end, nestled between the glimmering points of light, shards of broken crystals seem to form and dissolve at random. Diem looks formidable in her outfit, although inside she feels sad and vulnerable. Next, Giselle comes through with her centenary females at her back, 2 by 2 lines, and Giselle is like in the middle, leading them sort of in the front. And what Giselle is wearing is scraps that just covers intimate areas. Diem, who is in a quite revealing outfit compared to what Giselle and her girls are wearing, she feels overdressed. Taran too. Oof. Now, Simon leads the male centenaries in. Their bodies are well oiled. Earlier, Diem and Taran were talking about his type. And she's just assumed, hey, it's girls he likes. But when he sees the Simon and the men with their bodies well oiled, looking, like, ooh, who are those hotties? Taran now leans in and says to Diem, that's my type. This reminds me of that TikTok song that is quite viral at the moment, where some of these super hot ladies post their super hot boyfriends or fiancés and they're like, that's my type. Hot figure 8, that's my type. Yeah, that's what this line so reminds me of. Also, Diem suspects something's happening between Taran and Zal. Taran's have sort of confirmed it too, which makes Zal's betrayal all the more hurtful. Like the whole Zalaric ratting them out and stuff. Even though Taran doesn't seem to understand that Zal actually had no choice in the matter. Okay, the queen and all her 100 centenaries are in attendance. So look at the table arrangement. This must be a very long table. I wonder how they hear each other from one end of the table to the other. Are they shouting? Do they have some kind of voice magnification device? Or is it just magic, Those are some of the questions I personally have. Now, the 2 queens are seated in places of honor at the heads of the table on the either ends. Now, between Giselle's sharp questions, Simon's flirting, and Luther brushing against her, Diem feels like her siblings are fighting over her. That's what it feels like. Also, the incessant noise in her head since she got to Umber's hasn't abated. Conversations and activities flow at dinner. Diem and her crew learns that all centenaries might be here, but the city and ports are smoothly running. The higher luminous ascended to craft the illusion of centenaries throughout the city. Usually, Zal is part of those luminous descended. That he, in fact, even collects the queen's cut, collects the queen's taxes from the travelers and co. This is news to Zal, who's like, wait, what? Like, I have pretended to be a centenary, like crafted an illusion of being one and done that. Apparently, his memories get wiped after that service, in quotes. And the Umbers descended, they can't do that. They explain to Diem and every other person, her friends there, we can erase memories, create them, replace your emotions with pain, or replace them with pleasure. The person who says this is the centenary that Diem nicknamed Hackface in her mind, because that was one of the 2 ladies that were tending to Luther earlier. Diem has no idea what that tending implies. They continue to explain, when you control someone's mind, you control everything about them. You can make them say or do anything, believe they're someone else, turn them against the people they love. Their magic can remove every thought from your head and turn you into a walking corpse. Everything you love, everything you are, gone forever. So Giselle feels a need to emphasize this part to Diem. Once a mind is crushed, there is no saving it. Memories cannot be rewritten. Even Blessed Father Umbers cannot restore what no longer exists. The soul is gone. Gone! That is the only salvation you can give them. It just feels so much like Giselle is wanting Diem and Diem doesn't get why. Next, they're served drinks, but as Diem lifts it to drink, she perceives it contains flame root. Remember, she took this flame root powder for like 10 years of her life, so she knows how it smells. So as soon as she perceives it in their drink, she thunders in her thoughts, stop! And everybody, including the queen, who's supposed to have an impenetrable shield, hears Diem command stop. And everybody pauses. halt, taking that drink mid-air. Except Taran, who's already tossed it back. I mean, he's down it. This is another one of your sales tests for Diem, apparently. It makes Diem desire a mental shield to keep them out once for all. Because she's like, what do you mean there's a test? So with her desiring to craft a mental shield that no one can touch her head, instinctively her God who creates one. And with that comes quietness. That's what it dawns on her. Hold up. I've been hearing thoughts. That's why being among people has been so hard. Now, Giselle kind of forces Diem and her colleagues to play what she calls mirror game. It's a game where you have to tell the truth when a question is asked, and they can tell one is a lie because obviously their umbers ascended. Okay? Now, they cannot read Diem's mind, but she can let them in briefly to see that what she answered is correct or not correct. Now, like that, the first question is, who do you think should be crowned other than Diem? I'm paraphrasing this question. Now, the remarkable answer here is Alexis. She says Diem because Alex is someone who's a loyal person, right? But then the Umbers Ascended are like, it's a lie because deep down, you think Luther fits the position more, or even yourself. Alice is shocked to learn this about herself because she's pledged her loyalty to Diem and she means it. Now, the next question goes something like, who would you rather have in your bed? It's directed at Luther first. And staring at Diem, he says she knows. This is a summary of, those answers that makes us like, ooh, but this is a summary, she knows. I mean, dude, this wouldn't kill you to say Diem. Why would you look at her and say she knows? Considering so many things going on with them right now and how he's rejected her constantly, she's like, okay, I don't know if that's supposed to make me feel good. Now, feeling the stink of Luther's rejection since they got to Umbridge, she answers, the only man I'll welcome in my bed is a man who desires me and who wants me there. As I've come to learn, those can be two different things. When they ask Taran, who would you rather have in your bed? And he says the centenaries, they're like, it's a lie. So he's like, oh, okay, fine. Sorry, ladies, just the guys. They're like, that's a lie too. That he doesn't want a centenary. And it's not Luther either. So Luther is enjoying payback time at Taran for exposing his feelings for Diem. So like, yeah, who is it? You want Taran? And we know Taran does not want to answer this question. It's so uncomfortable. But Diem notes that even as much as Luther is teasing Taran and co, he looks tired and sad. Zal, when he answers who doesn't want his bed, his answer is also a lie. But we do not get the truth. Now, the next question actually goes, my palace is burning. This is Gisela asking. My palace is burning and you can only save one other person. Who would it be, Zalaric, me or Diem? Zalaric honestly answers that he would save himself. And if the Umbers judge that to be truth. Diem is not mad. She just says, I respect it too. I'd rather have your honesty than your loyalty. And when she says this, she honestly didn't mean that as a jab to Luther, but it is a jab to him and he stiffens. Now, before Alex can be asked, who is it you'll save? She quickly answers, my queen, that's Diem. And the Umbers judge that to be the truth. At once, Alex sags in relief, like, oh, thank God. At least, she's still feeling guilty over the first answer that is not her queen that should rather have as queen. Diem notes how none of the centenaries are built for combat. So she is now saying, no one dares challenge you for fear of angering your queen. But war is coming and your enemies are not also afraid. When the fighting starts, you better pray to the kindred. You've got someone like Taran on the battlefield to save your pampered asses. You get? Because this was after Taran answered his own question that, of course, his queenie he's going to save. That is Diem. And at that time, he was already like, partly drunk and burping and so on serious. They're like, yo, who would you save? Are you sure you can even save yourself? Do you get? So Diem actually cut in with his reply and saying that you all are not built for combat. You better hope you have someone like Taran. You get? Like standing up for her friend. Now, Hackface, that centenary now. That Diem nicknamed Hackface. This is so petty, but so relatable. Like the girl with your man that you don't understand what happened, but hey, Hackface. So Hackface now replies, we're not fighting in any war. We let the mortals do as they please. The guardians aren't coming for us, and our queen doesn't bow to other crowns' demands. Diem now asks Giselle if she really thinks this war won't come to her. Giselle answers by crushing a glass with her bare hands. If me and you were to crush a tumbler with our bare hands, blood will come out, making the scene gory. Blood is not so nice now. But come on, this is descended skin. The glass simply dimples it. It cannot pierce through. She now lets it fall from her hands to the ground. are shot to the ground. She now says, all because the blood of blessed Father Umbers runs in my veins. That's what this is as a result of it. Even the most distant relations with kindred will bestow such gifts. The Sopho's crowns have been researching it for centuries. Breeding descended with mortals, then breeding that child with a mortal, then breeding that child with a mortal, on and on for generations. The kindred blood never fades. No amount of mortal blood can destroy it. Only the blood of another kindred can do that. So, with this revelation, you can see that descended blood can actually never be diluted by mortal blood. So the whole, we do not want to dilute our powers by getting together with mortals. I really don't know who came up with that, because that's not what the experiment is showing. Descended blood is still powerful, no matter how many times it's diluted in mortals, quote unquote. Now, one of the centenaries, that's Ysel centenaries, is mated to a man from mirrors. Ysel has granted them permission to have a child, knowing the woman's magic is stronger. I will make the child an Umbers ascended. So Ysel is now saying it may take its father's nose or laugh or personality, but his mirror's blood will simply disappear, defeated by her Umber's blood. Now, the blood war got its name because the crowns were certain the kindred blood would prevail over mortals, and it cost them dearly. Ysel is now saying, we lost 2 grievance, thousands of life, and we almost lost the war. These new crowns have learned nothing from that lesson. Ysel drags the finger blade down Diem's palm, revealing her blood. The war will be fought over this. That's blood. But this war will be unlike any we've ever seen. Those who are most certain they'll win will find themselves among the first to die. The war has already begun and no one can escape it. Now, after dinner, they are moved into a spacious room, warmed by the heads and lit up with hundreds of candles. Chaises and mattresses lay around. The Umbers ascended, they take pills, they sniff powders, they relax. They're getting warmed up for other activities. And this is how they spend 99% of their evenings unless they're on duty. Diem can't fathom it. Doesn't it get boring? You have this whole city out there to explore, this whole realm, and you choose this? So Zalaric now points out, satisfaction is the death of curiosity. These ones are very satisfied. Only Drusilla, the one that is mated to that mirror's man and heavily pregnant, can relate to Diem's. Is this not boring? So Drusilla now explains, Her Majesty lets my mate live in the palace. He enjoyed all the luxuries at first, but lately, he's from mirrors. He's a sailor at heart. He longs to explore the world. But as a centenary, my place is here. Tara now asks to see the mating mark on Drusilla's wrists. Now, Diem, who doesn't know what a mating mark is and doesn't understand it. So they explain to her that the ritual requires you to shed a drop of blood and commit your heart for all eternity. If the magic determines your love to be true and unconditional, then the bond is formed and this mark appears where you bleed. It connects here, in a way. He can feel when she touches it, and vice versa. So Diem tries to force herself not to look in Luther's direction with all this talk about mates, but when she does, he's gone. Her and Taran eventually make their way to the bar to be together in miserableness. Taran is mad at Zal for caring for no one but himself. Diem points out, all the good Zal has done for her mother children doesn't say, that he's heartless. It says differently. Taran points out how Diem is mad and Luther is miserable, meaning that Luther must be the one wrong. Diem thinks Luther may not want her that way again. Taran has to point out, have you already forgotten the challenging, the compass, the way he looked when you almost died back in Igneos? Because I'll never forget that. He held you like you were his own heart, ripped out of his damn chest and beaten in his arms. Taran wants to fight somebody, anybody who might be putting ideas in Diem's head, but he ends up just walking away after Ysel shows up. Now, Ysel shares more with Diem at the bar. This same bar that she was just with Taran. Now, among Umbers descended who died were many volunteers, those who had weak magic, the elderly. And when Diem is like, what about those who didn't? Ysel did what was necessary. In Diem's mind, she's like, okay. Ysel shared that she's being good to mortals, which is why Father Umbers told her everything. But before Ysel can share any more with Diem, she catches herself and tells Diem, you'll find out everything else tomorrow. Diem now says, I hope the future Umbers crown will follow your example of treating mortals well. Ysel now says, the next crown isn't going to do any of this. Diem is like, how do you know? Ysel now explains, I know my successor and I know their plans. Crowns can always sense their own heirs, though most are wise enough to keep it to themselves, lest they find their death arriving sooner than expected. The knowledge only comes near the end of a crown's life. So Diem is like, but King Uther thought it was Uther that would inherit. So Ysel explains, Uther was unconscious in his final days, or he would have known Diem was his heir if they met. Ysel's reign is coming to an end, but she doesn't know the exact time. What worries her though is Diem. So Isel now explains to Diem, my successor will be your most difficult adversary. They will stand in the way of what you need to do. They will drive a wedge between you and those you love. They will cost you a terrible price. And there's a strong chance they'll put you in a premature grave. I fear telling you now will only make it worse. It's an unchangeable fate. Diem grits that I don't believe in those. What do you mean? Every fate is changeable. So, Isel explains, you young new crowns are always the same, so temperamental. Insist on making all your own mistakes. Oh gosh. Honestly, this felt like it was talking to me as for the part of you insist on making your own mistakes. I hope I'm not like that. Diem doesn't like dead kindred meddling in affairs of the living. To this, Isel clarifies, the kindred aren't dead. They bound their physical bodies so they could age and pass from this world together with their mates. But they did not die as you and I understand it. The afterlife is only for those with mortal blood in their veins. The mortals, the half-mortals, the descended, the kindred have no mortal blood. Their bodies perish, but they endure. Their kind can be killed, but blessed Umbers didn't share how. So with this, Isel slips away. Now, Diem is leaving when Alex meets her. She's reconciled with Luther, Alex has, but really observed what Diem said about something not being right with Luther. She now says to Diem, Luther Cobward does not get tired. And if he does, he certainly doesn't let anyone see it. You were right. Something is very, very wrong. Diem hesitates to go to Luther's room. Instead, she heads to hers, packs up things in her satchel because they're leaving the next day, and then she now lays awake because sleep is not coming. And she's also thinking of how to face Luther. So she's like, okay, I really have to face Luther. She tucks her crown away. It's not the queen meeting with her subject or something like that. No, this is her and Luther meeting as themselves. No rules in the way. It takes a little while before Luther answers the door when she knocks on it. And beyond him, she notices that his room is a mess, not like Luther at all. He even looks ashamed of it. She wears it off and simply lets him know that, I trust you, it's okay. Now she's taking a cue from her parents' relationships that, okay, I know you're keeping a secret, but I choose to trust you, that you're going to tell me when you want to or not. It doesn't matter, we'll work out. You know, her parents were like that as per they both had secrets, but they still loved each other and la 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 la. And Diem is trying to like, okay, let me go with that example. Girlie, you're not your parents, and secrets may not be the best for a relationship. Now, each time Luther tries to talk to let her know, okay, this is what's going on, and she notices he is leaning heavily on the table. She cuts in and spews her whole heart out. How he's the first person that made her think of an exciting future. He gave her hope, but it feels like it's gone. You know? And this part again, when she's like, oh, the love is gone. It reminds me of this song by Rosie of Blackpink. And all my love is gone. All my love is gone. I don't know the thing with me and these random songs. Anyhow, Diem thinks is maybe because I made so much mistakes and ignorance. Is that the reason, you're distant from me? But he assures her it's none of that. Eventually, they're in a making up embrace, and when she cradles his hip, he hunches over, then collapses on the table. Blood is on her hands. Quickly, she finds a dagger and cuts away his clothes beneath a wrap of rage, soaked through with dark blood, the surrounding skin swollen with infection, spreading in every direction, stretching up his scarred chest and circling his neck. Oh my goodness. A thick tangled web of blackened veins, poison veins, Godstone. Suddenly, everything about Luther is making sense. His strange behavior, the urgency, like we need to get back to Luminous. She's like, how did I miss it all? I mean, he's been boiling fever hot for days. The only skin on his body untouched by the poison's reach is a spot above his heart, the same patch his scar had mysteriously missed. So Luther now explains that from the onset, his wounds were deeper than Tarrant's. Even before leaving Ignus, the toxin already covered his chest. He watched her make the poultice for Tarrant. He's been using it all, but no, nothing. Here in Umbers, he's been to see a doctor who wondered, how did it spread so quickly? That normally takes about a month for Godstone poison to get this bad. Maybe he pissed off a divinity. He doesn't tell her that part though, but he just tells her that they just say that there's no hope for me. The truth is, he actually collapsed at the bathhouse earlier, and the female centenaries brought him back. They called the mortal healer a photos healer. Isel had sent for those healers, but the same thing, no hope. Diem is firm that no, we're going to fight until the very end. So Diem calls for Sarai through their bond and goes to Tarrant's room. He takes a little while to answer because he was busy with Zal, who's also in the room with him. No, she just says, it's Luther. We're returning to Lumnos tonight. Sarai is on her way. The queen's not going to let me leave willingly, so we're going to have to run. Taran is up to him right now to inform Alex, and everyone is supposed to converge at Luther's room. Diem returns to Luther's side. There are kisses. Hers are of sorrow, but his are sweet and full of affection, reminding her too much of goodbye. So Luther is now telling Diem, there's so much I need to tell you. I thought we'd have more time. So Diem is like, we will have more time. You remember that vision of us on the battlefield? That's our destiny. Fate cannot be changed. That's why it's called fate. Earlier she was having this conversation with Isel, and she's like, I don't believe that faith is fixed, that kind of thing. But right now she's like, yeah, fate is fixed. We've not left that battlefield yet. So it's convenient to believe in fate when it works in your favor. Taran comes in, sees Luther's state, and knows it's because Luther came back for him in Abers. Luther puts Taran in charge of Diem's safety. Diem disagrees and said, let him stay alive and do it himself. So Taran is like, yeah, stay alive. I've always hated Lumnos. I only stayed for you. If you die, why shouldn't I leave? There's no one left for me there or anywhere. As much as these words look like, oh, he's trying to give Luther ginger to fight, it's also like, these words hold a festering pain. Now, Sarai can hold about 4 people for a flight, but 5 might be too much, slowing her down. Regardless, Diem is like, Zal, you're going to join us. It's not safe for you in Umbers, where the queen might take it out on you. Us leaving, she might take it out on you. Taran pleads with Zal, please come, so I don't have to wonder if you're dead or alive too. So now, while Taran and Zalaric are packing up Luther's things, Diem remains by his side. Taran sees a stack of letters Luther wrote to everyone, packs it up too. He also brings a magic compass to Luther's hand because he explains to Diem it calms him to know he can always find you. Sure enough, Luther's grip tightens on the compass. Diem wants to stay behind while the rest of them get away, but Luther is like, I'm going to die, Diem. Having you at my side until it happens is my only mercy. Don't take that away from me too. And the only reason Diem wants to just stay behind to give them a head start away is that part of the reason Diem agreed to stay in Umbris for 3 days is because Ysel did not send a vote that said, hey, let's execute Orali Belato, the leader of the Guardians. But if Diem were to leave unexpectedly, Ysel might send her votes, and Diem doesn't want that. So she wants to stay back so that let the others go first. You get it? But Luther is like, no, please. I'm already dying. Just stay by my side till the end, please. So Alex is here now. She has joined them in the room. They've converged. And now they're discussing a landing. Where can Sarai land when she gets here? Oh, the throne room is out of the question because the Centenaries get to do stuff there on the throne and co. So the only place that people would likely not be is the dining room's terrace. It's large enough for a Griven to land there. The only major blockade right now is the Umbrosis Queen's Griven. Zal agrees to join them. Okay, I'm going to travel you guys, but on the condition that I'm not going to be a dirty secret or hide that I may have Moto Hanovera. Deal. Diem is like, listen, I cannot promise you protection or they're going to be safe, but I can promise you that the queen is going to be your ally. I mean, take that. Because it's not even safe for her anywhere. But hey, we're going to stick together. So let's do this. So now, Diem is walking down the corridor. She appears as though she's walking alone. But the others are with her and cloaked by an illusion. Zahals and Alex's light illusions. It now dawns on Diem that Ysel could actually change her mind about sparing her mother. That game they played during dinner about who would you save in a fire is suddenly very, very real. Because when they asked Diem that question, who would you save in a fire? It's a fire, you can only save one other person. Everybody thought Diem would say Luther, but she's like, actually, I would want to save everybody or die trying. Truly, there is nobody I would leave behind. And when she allowed the Umbrosis Queen into her head to see if that is true, the Umbrosis Queen is like, that is true. Diem would actually try to save everybody. She wouldn't want to sacrifice anybody. Now, safely in the dining room, they're waiting for Sarai. Diem tucks the key to the library in her dress, that beyond the door, that Ysel gave her. If Ysel had even invited her to return whenever she wanted. But leaving as Diem is leaving right now, she doubts that is still an open offer. Diem now reaches out to Sarai through their bond to say, where's Sarai day? And already Sarai really has been flying so fast. Like within Sarai's view, the Umbers coast is already being seen, okay? And honestly, the most thing that Diem is hoping for right now is that Sarai and the Umbers Griven does not clash. Seeing Grivens fight is not pretty. They don't even like fighting each other, but then they do that because they are compelled to protect their crowns, Now, it's here Diem learns that during the Blood War, Tybold was forced to take on Trey Grivens. The last time we saw a nasty Griven fight, It's how the Montiel's Graven was gravely injured, that's right, Mary, and how she was easy prey for the Guardians to finish off. With Alex, the moments I was fierce that if I lose Luther, I might be lost to rage. So Alex now tells her, you won't be alone. We'll all grieve together. We'll be furious together. And then we'll fight together for him. Alex hears a Graven first. And they're like, is Sarai supposed to be this close? Oh, no, it's not. It's the Emperor's Graven. They hurriedly allow the men to hide, and for good measure, they make them invisible. Alex hides too, while Diem pours alcohol over the terrace to mask the center of the humans here. Sadly, the Umbra's Graven is more alert than that. Also, Luther's freshly changed bandage. Diem just changed his bandage. It's already bleeding through an invisible body. Nobody here on the wall, but then you're seeing blood drop to the ground. That is so sus. So suspicious. So now the Graven is headed there for, what is this bleeding thing? Let me investigate more. And then Diem has to intervene. She tries reasoning with the Graven. Can't you see my intentions? I don't want to hurt your queen. Please, please understand. And it's working. The Graven even allows Diem to touch its snout, But then Sarai arrives. And then seeing Diem under another Graven sets off Sarai's protective instinct. The other Graven looks at Diem with a betrayed look, makes a roar that has surely alerted everybody, and then flies off. All right, let's get everyone on Sarai's back. Come on. It's not going to be easy in this stretch. Taran uses 2 bells to fasten Luton to himself. Zal sends magic through the door, like spilling out to keep the people from barging down the door, like let them stay away for a while they're getting out. If the people starts getting through, Zal, you better run. As for Diem, she makes a secret plan with Sarai alone, because they cannot read Graven's minds. But if she tells her friends her plans, the Centenaries will know what she's up to. Now, Zal gets affected by one of the Centenaries and he's frozen in place. Their mind magic has him frozen. So Diem now drags him towards Sarai and she's now like, you guys, get him out of the radius of the magic so that he gets himself back. Sarai's like quivers as she stands underneath all the weight on her. But Girly is determined. Sarai, that is. She flies off. Now, Diem faces off with Ysel. Luther's faith is sealed. Because Diem is mad that, why didn't Ysel tell her that Luther is dying? And Ysel is like, his faith is sealed. Even though he was supposed to participate more, but oh well. Her friends got away, so Diem should stay. That's Ysel. You go where you wanted, your friends got away, so just stay. Diem wants to leave though, and promises that she's going to return later, but Ysel refuses, that her people's lives are on the line. And she now tells Diem every day he grows stronger. Soon, even you will not be able to stop him, and the world will fall. But she doesn't disclose to Diem who this him is. After waiting 1 minute max for Diem to join her inside, the queen is like, ugh, okay, Centenaries, bring her in by force, however you want to do it, just bring her in. And Diem has to hold against 100 people trying to claw into her mind. Eventually, the Graven breathes fire at her, and Diem throws up a shield in panic. But that shield is coated in glittering ice. And when a drop of that ice dissolves, more ice and snow replaces it. That is Montheos magic. Now, the onslaught on Diem's mind continues. The Centenaries are shocked that, this is impossible. How can you hold up against us? But not the queen. Now, she now tells Diem, end this. Let me show you who you are and what you're meant to do. It's time to claim your inheritance in full. Her godhood purrs in agreement. But come on, that's Luther. She has to be there for him. The queen is forced to attack Diem with her own superior mind magic. And already weakened from, the other 100 Centenaries attacking her mind, Diem kneels. Like the force of the queen's magic makes her kneel. And Ysel now smugly tells her people that even the mightiest of crowns bow to me. So Diem's crown comes out to hover above her head once more. Because she's still there that time she went to talk with Luther. And she now tells them, she just tells everybody there, I am Diem Bellator. The glow of the crown is casting luminous shadows on her face. And she says, and I kneel for no one. She slams down the mental shield and lets their magic reveal hers. Before she was guarding against them attacking her, but right now she just brings down her mental shield. And so when they are trying to attack her with mind magic, their mind magic is refueling her magic. You know how when you attack her and she can just soak it in and it's nice, okay? That's what happens. Her skin glows silver, fire and frost coats her. Then she tips back over the balcony and falls She's free falling 1 minute and then cut around the chest the next. Her friends stare in horror. She tried to stay to reason with Giselle, but no way. So now they're flying for about a minute before Giselle gives chase on her Griven. Normally Sarai is fast, a very fast Griven. But she's overloaded and she just made a quick trip here. So Diem orders that Zal and Alix cloak them. Sarai remains drifting so that her wings, the sound of her flapping wings don't give off her position. Diem shoots shadow horses at Giselle and the Griven. The Griven now chooses the spot above Sarai where she thinks that the attack is coming from and shoots dark fire. They feel the heat in as much as they bend and it doesn't touch them. The fire keeps coming until Sarai's claws are leaving trails in the clouds. When the next fire comes, Diem throws up the Montiel shield, shocking her friends who are like, whoa, that's not luminous magic. Except Luther, who asks her, have you touched Marisol before? And she's like, yes, I have. He now tells her, use the wind, use Maris magic wind. So he explains to her, the day we first met, you healed Lily. That's what was magic. Just now, the ice is Monthew's magic. The flames in Igneous and in Umbers. You had Salaric's thoughts, didn't you? That's how you knew he betrayed us. I knew it. You can use all 9 kindred's magic. It's hard for Diem to accept because, wait, I just went from not knowing I'm a descendant to knowing I'm a descended queen. And next thing, I'm not like other descendant. I can use all 9 realms. What the heck? But she has no time to ask all those questions because their lives are on the line. Okay? Sarai is going down. So by instinct, she releases the wind. It feels Sarai's wings, relieving the strain on her overtaxed muscles. Also, Luther's faith in Diem ignites her, that makes her angry when she remembers his dying. That rage feeds her godhood. She knocks Giselle and the Griven sideways, things that will keep them off, removes the cloak and tells her friends, let's fly without the cloak. Let's conserve your magic. But suddenly, she's flying off. Like she's falling from the Griven and flying in midair. By instinct, she holds onto something firm that hits her palm, collides with the body. And Giselle's cackles confirms that it's actually Giselle that made her fly off. Beneath, Alix is falling towards the sea. They're hurrying to make it to her. Diem is ignoring Giselle. That is like, yeah, well, this is, you caused this, come back, Alix has acceptance written on her face as she is so out of reach of Diem and the others getting hold of her. At the last minute, Diem's wing magic is able to coil around Alix, and Taran helps Alix onto the saddle. Alix resumes boss mode at ASAP, like she didn't just face down death. Luther and Taran are held up by Sarai's claw. That belt that is fastening them together is what Sarai is holding onto. When Diem and Zal almost stumble out, it's Alix who keeps them on miraculously. Grabs this person this side, grabs the other person this side. Ugh. But Diem's satchel opens, like it, in the whole windy movement, and the lavender fire tumbles. That lavender fire, the only thing left of Raimari, the Griven of Montheus, and then that fire shatters on the sacred sea. It's gone. Diem is pained, but she's like, well, I have to save the one that's still alive. Let's save Sarai. But the situation gets worse. Giselle won't stop attacking, chasing, and Diem's godhood is pissed. Diem knows that right now, if she unleashes, is that silver thunderbolt that winks things out of existence that would make Giselle and her Griven just vanish away. And Diem, that's not what she wants. How to explain that this girl doesn't kill even when it's necessary? Giselle has hearts, even if Diem does not, and starts making Taran strangle Luther. Light magic that Alix whips around Taran's hands that burns and blisters so that she can force Taran's hand away. It doesn't make him remove his hand. The men are helpless and they look like they're in terror. Soon Alix and Zal are being controlled too. They're about to fall off. Diem is able to catch them, but Luther's eyes are rolling back. That means he's going. Oxygen. Sarai feels Diem's anguish. And then a claw, one of Sarai's claw, now hovers above Taran's chest as per, should I kill him to save Luther? Taran is even welcoming the deaths because he too cannot live with himself if Luther dies by his hand. But Diem now screams no, please. And right now she's not like, I don't want to kill anybody. But then the situation means something has to give. Zal and Alix, they start falling again. Diem sends a prayer out into the universe. She's given up all hope. You understand? Like, oh, I have to do something difficult. I have to do something monstrous that I can't recover from. But before she can make that choice, a blinding flash of light fills the sky, followed by a wave of sweltering heat. The smell of burnt skin singes her nose. Giselle and her Griven are screaming, wailing, tumbling, burning. Lavender flames. Raimari came back from the dead. That flames came out to defend him. They are free. Everyone rights themselves back on the saddle and then collapse in exhaustion. Alix conceals them. Diem raises a westbound wind. Luther's arms go around her waist as she rests it on his chest. They're headed home. It's late morning by the time they arrive in Lumnos. Every other person had some rest. Diem did it so that she could bolster Sarai with her wind magic. Luther's pulse is so weak. Now, Diem notices that there is so many Amaran soldiers in Lumnos, much more than before Alex and Co left there. So what for? That's what she's wondering. Now, once they land on the perch outside of Diem's room, Diem starts shooting orders. Oh yeah, Taran and Zal, get into my bed. She tries to write a medicine list, even though her hands are shaking so much, it's crawly. She gives it to Alex and asks Sarai, please take her to bring Mara. And then Luther's clothes are cut off. Uh-oh. The web of veins had grown thicker and darker, now stretching to his feet and past the bend of his jaw. The skin around his wound looked as if they were coated in tar. Only the space over his heart still remains untouched. Tella is the first person who comes to see Diem. Just hugging her brother gives Diem a strength that no magic can. Now, Tella informs Diem that Luther sent a messenger hawk from Umbers to inform him that Diem is fine. Of course, Luther did that. Lily is the next person, and she screams when she sees her brother. Tella has to bodily block Luther from her view. Diem assigns everyone to a task. Lily and Tella, they are to get medicinal herbs she planted around the palace. Now, alone with Luther, Diem tries using photosalar magic on him. The magic wants to help, but the godstone poison is like a life leecher. Even when she heals an organ, it goes bad immediately. In as much as his heart is still beating strong, organs around it are bad, and they're pressing and suffocating the heart. Now, Eleanor comes to see Diem next. She talks with Taran in a corner. Diem hums and busies herself so that no words they're saying can get to her and discourage her. Finally, Mora arrives on the gravel with Alex. And Mora was told actually that it's Diem who's injured. But Mora still jumps to work on Luther how best she can. Diem refuses to rest even when Mora uses her mom voice on her. Eventually, Eleanor brings Diem to the hut. It's winter, so it's needed to warm up the place. Subconsciously, Diem pushes more fire into it, making her friends uneasy because that's igneous magic. Next thing, Remis and his wife Bajin, Pet too. Diem's guard. So Remis and the wife, they followed Lily and Tella, and Pet has not left Tella's side since Diem left the room. Tella is miffed about it, like, he's always on my matter. Meanwhile, Remis isn't happy about Zal's presence. Reminds Diem everyone has declared war on her, including the crowns. Diem is not bothered. She doesn't want Remis here. He and his wife aren't Luther's loved ones. But Lily sweetly asks to prevent it, and a very unpleasant scene. And Diem can't say no to her. Also, clever Lily takes her parents to the farthest corner. Diem briefly considered, are you sure that spring in Igneous does not have healing power? Maybe I should go and get some. But now that Taran says, let me go and get some, she's like, no, don't worry. I think that might be a better way. But in the meantime, she uses her photo's magic to heal Taran's bonds. And then both of them share a loaded look because he's now realizing, you can use magic apart from Luna's magic. Mora finishes, attending to Luther. And in the privacy of the balcony, Mora informs Diem that nothing else can really be done. She presses a strong sleeping draught into Diem's hand. As for payment, Mora declines, but Diem makes a mental note to send a pouch of gold. And then Diem now asks a very tired Sarai, who so loves pleasing Diem, to gently fly Mora back. So next thing is a pointless waiting and feeling that you're missing something. That's how Diem is feeling. She's just waiting because they don't know what's going to happen to Luther next. Now, Diem has gone through her mom's journal about Godstone and descended healing a lot. It's only about 10 minutes reading and she's gone through it again and again, thinking maybe I'm missing something. But the only thing there is something that is written on the margin part of it. It's like Diem dash Corel. Godstone equals death. Life equals question mark. It's incomplete. Diem's gut instinct is telling her that the answer to what you're looking for is not in that springs and igneous or in photos. But then what is it? The only thing happening right now is Luther is bleeding out. Tella joins Diem. Most everyone has cleared from the room except Remis and his wife. They are still on the far end. Diem now tells Tella that she wants to rescue their mother. About the plans. And Tella is like, that means she's innocent. That my friends were saying that she put me in a descended school to use Mrs. Power in the descended, And Diem cannot confirm or deny that. So Diem now explains in low voice that she found out after being captured that their mom was leader of the Guardians. That she actually thought it was Vance. Tella is like, how do you know is this Vance person? You would not know that unless you were, That means Diem was keeping things from him too. So Tella is angry. I stood by you the entire time, Diem. I did whatever you asked of me. I was grieving mother and father. My life was falling apart, but I put it aside to help you. And the only thing you could have done to help me, you didn't. He's also pissed that Diem found out since that their mother was alive and kept it from him because she didn't want to give him false hope. He now tells her, you're just like her, keeping secrets, lying, using me. You've been so angry at mother all this time, but you're just as bad as she is. He stalks off. Lily follows after him. Guilt and shame fills Diem. Voices of doubt and condemnation is just pouring at her. So it's kind of saying, blood on your hands, corpses at your feet. You're going to get everyone killed. You're a selfish, reckless fool. You don't deserve to be queen. No one believes in you. The only one who did is about to die all because of you. Oof! The unlikely comfort comes in form of Lily hugging Diem. She assures Diem that Tella is going to forgive her, even though she's made big mistakes. So Lily explains, Luther does that to me all the time. He thinks I don't know, but I pay attention. I know what he's up to. So Lily explains she plays dumb to make Luther feel he's performing his protection role well. Lily knows about his real mother and he's helping half-mortal children. Lily also talks about how Luther has lived so sacrificially, never wanting anything for himself until Diem. It used to be that Luther would sneak into her room for a break, but she would talk his ear out. However, with Diem in the picture, Luther became the talkative. She's now telling Diem, I used to play a game where I would change the subject and see how long it took him to bring you up. It never took more than 3 sentences. He had it bad. And then you got mad at him and he was so sad. The kind of sad you can only get from being in love, The kind where you think you'll never feel happy again. But then you kissed him at the challenging and that whole night he couldn't stop smiling. For the first time in my entire life, I saw my brother really truly happy, not just for you, but for himself too. So Lily explains that even if Luther doesn't make it, he was happy for a brief time. Diem can't take it. I know Lily meant for this to be a comfort, but Diem can't take it. It's breaking her heart. She asks for time away. Others no guards follow her and makes her way towards Luther's room. Her skin is glowing from all the emotion and she's like about to unleash. So she's trying to just tamp it down. She's grieving hard. And of all persons to run into her in the passage on her way to Luther's room, Amen. She isn't nice at all. She hasn't got the time. But then Amon is like, all talking and saying, no, I'm on your side. Tell me your plans. Let me show you I can help. Well, she's not in a great emotional state right now because, honestly, telling Amon your plans, are you okay? Regardless, she tells him, my plans. My plan is to save Luther, break my mother out of prison, take on the crowns, and probably the entire Emarian army while I'm at it, and fight a war all by myself. Still want to be my ally? He balks. Of course he does. So he's not like your mother, the rebel leader. You are going to free her after all the violence the Guardians are responsible for? Diem throws back, and how much violence is your father responsible for? She would leave it here, She would just leave him because almost she's not ready to shout. But remembers that hearts can grow so big. She now informs Amon that it could have actually been Tara in Luther's position. Would you really have wanted your brother gone forever? All this hate the two of you are holding, you are directing it at the wrong person. I'm sure Taran has made his share of mistakes, but I don't think he's the one you're really angry with, is he? Life is too short to hold grudges, even for the descendant. So Amon tells her that he hasn't been enforcing the progeny laws, the whole kill half-mortal children. He's actually delayed executions until her return, that he's not a monster. She asks why he didn't demonstrate that with the boy he ran over. He's defensive. Meanwhile, Luther's door lock is a blood lock. Diem takes out Amon's gold sword that would be useless, if not for an edge of Photoshian steel. So she removes that part of the knife, cuts her thumb with it, and returns his sword. Amon is still defending. You have no idea what it's like. The pressure my father puts on me to be perfect, to never show weakness. I'm not a bad person. She's not like, prove it. Funny thing, her blood unlocks the door to Luther's room. So Luther actually keyed his locks to open to only himself and her. He probably knew he might not return and trusted her with a journal containing the names of the half-mortals. Some 20 houses are capable of hunting down those children to read them from their lineage. It's very sensitive information. Luther's parlor looks like he exited in a hurry, likely to get to her once he learned the compass could lead him to his greatest heart desire. She winds up kneeling before the bust of Lemnos in a corner of Luther's room and prays desperately for Luther to be saved. She would rather herself than him and pours out all her magic as an offering. She doesn't care for it without Luther. Lumnos magic, Igneos, Aboros, Fornos, Monthios. When that doesn't seem enough, the blade she collected from Aemon, she slices her palm deeply open to the bones and offers her blood. Nothing happens at first. Then the luminous bust cries blood tears. Before Diem can make sense of what this might mean, Lily is at the door calling for her because Luther is convulsing. He's struggling to breathe and lines of blood are streaming from his nose. The web of poison veins have increased now, stretching across his face and temples. Diem tries her magic, sobs, kisses him goodbye, asks Pet to send for their friends and brings the sleeping drow to give him a peaceful passage. But just as she's about to feed it to him, a metal clanging from behind her, where no one is, makes her stop. So it reminds her of the compass in Luther's hand, that metal. And that compass is in Luther's hands now, meaning that Tara must have brought it out from Luther's bag and put it back there. So that compass leads Diem to what her heart most desires, something beyond Luther. It leads her to the Aburro's vial, her ascension ball gift, on the table that somehow didn't get overturned when she was scattering things. There is no cure for Godstone, but with her blading hand holding the compass in one hand, and the Aburro's vial in her other hand, the compass clicks, the arrow disappears. She's apparently found what she's looking for. It's an out-of-body experience as she moves to feed him the tonic and at last minute opens his festered wound and pours the rest of it there. It mixes with the blood, her blood on her opened palm, especially as she scraps out every last drop of the liquid, presses it directly into the wound. It's a crude method of healing, but she just has a gut feeling. With nothing else left to do, she curls up on one side of him, Lily on the other side of him, and they fall asleep. So right now, what's gonna happen? Anyhow, this is where we end it today. Join us in the next episode to see if Luther survived. Does she break her mom out of prison? How does the cell react? What's all these things about him getting stronger? And why are all the dragon flames protecting Diem? You know, what's with that? So let's answer more of these questions in the next episode. Please, neighbor, don't forget to use the link in the show notes, the Linktree link. Please don't forget to use it to join our Telegram community. That is so important. See you. I love you, neighbor. See you.